Well, if I could sing, I would, because I am so excited about our topic tonight, which is all about love and Valentine's Day. And I know you guys are all excited. You are every year. And so hopefully I have some interesting facts about love and about Valentine's Day and about getting together that will help you create the love in your life that you desire in a very rich and useful way, because we can create love in our lives, but sometimes it does not serve us well and serve us the way that we plan. So tonight we're going to be talking about love and Valentine's Day and some of the things that go into making Valentine's Day the day that it is. But the thing that I want to warn you about, especially women, there is a dating scam that's on the internet. And it's so interesting about these scams, because I don't know if you're like me. I get tons of emails every day. And some of them are from people who, of course, don't mean you any good. And the scam that's out there, it's using men in the military. I guess it said that women love men in uniform. And apparently what happens is that women are receiving emails from men who actually are in the military. These men are in the military, but they are not creating the email. But what the concern is that when they receive this email, it's very sweet, and it tells them that, they want to get to know these women better and possibly start a relationship with them. But what they need to do first is send them $3,400 so that they can get an honorable discharge from the Army, and then they can begin a dating relationship. Now, it's my understanding that if you receive this email, well, it just sounds crazy anyway, but if you receive it, one way to tell is that the emails from the military, they end in .mil. So if the email does not have that, only God in heaven knows who created it. But, just be mindful, and don't be so happy to write a check. When a man really wants to get to know you, the first thing generally is not to ask you for money when he doesn't even know your name. So just keep that in mind, that there's always somebody out there trying to fish money out of your pocket. And it's your job to make sure that they don't succeed. But like I said, it's tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and it's one of the biggest days for the economy in the United States. Valentine's Day, there's a lot of money that's in circulation. As a matter of fact, it says that $448 million is spent on candy alone the week before Valentine's. That is just a staggering amount of money to me. $448 million. That's a lot of money. And not only are people buying candy, but they're buying flowers and trinkets and cards and all of these other things. So My goodness, just think about it. Valentine's Day, in and of itself, is a huge boost to the economy, let alone your heart. So, I just want to talk about some of the what I think are some of the interesting things about Valentine's Day tonight. Um, in doing my research, I found that men, they spend about $150 on Valentine, and women, they spend 74. So I got to thinking, I'm like, well, what is this big disparity about? Is it that women don't care about men, and so they don't worry about getting them a gift? And I guess that's the issue, is because Valentine's Day supposedly is for women, not so much for men. So in taking a look at the numbers, I found this to be very interesting. If men spend an average of $150, then I'm thinking, well, what are they spending their money on? And it turns out the reason that men spend more has to do with the fact that they buy jewelry. Apparently, jewelry is the cost factor in all of this. So they're not just buying flowers and candy and whatever else they think that you might enjoy. Jewelry, I guess, is a number one request from women. And so, consequently, men end up spending a lot of money. But in terms of what people buy for Valentine's Day, a box of chocolate, when you think about the money, a box of chocolates is about $15.11. Now, I'm not a big fan of chocolate. And I know that probably sounds crazy because apparently women love chocolate, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like white chocolate. If I'm to get chocolate, it needs to be white chocolate. And I do like milk chocolate, but I noticed that many times the candy, if it's milk chocolate, it tends to have something else in it, and I don't like gooey things, and I'm not necessarily crazy about biting into nuts and different fillings. So if I'm going to get chocolate, I like white chocolate or milk chocolate with absolutely nothing in it. And like I said, I think that's kind of strange, but most people, they just like chocolate. And I do. I just only like those two kinds of chocolates. The next big ticket item for Valentine's Day is diamond earrings. And diamond earrings, they cost about $323.26. So, which, that's not bad. If you're getting a nice pair of diamond earrings, that's a really nice price for $323. I'd like to see what they look like, but that's not bad. A dozen roses. They're about $41.66. Dinner for two, about $80.46. Now, I guess that would depend a lot on where you decide to dine. If you're going to go to a very fancy restaurant, if you're having a 5-course meal, you're probably going to spend a little bit more than $80. So I'm not sure where they got that price from. Maybe they didn't use Los Angeles as the barometer in terms of dinner for two, because $80, I guess you can get a decent meal, but a really nice meal will run you a little bit more here in Los Angeles. And then the bottle of champagne, which I can't drink that either. So I would be a very cheap date, except for the dinner. So the dinner would probably be the most important part. But a bottle of champagne is $51.54. So that's not too bad. I don't know anything about champagne, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you, well, you should have this champagne versus that, because I don't drink champagne, so I can't really say what the really good champagnes are. But those of you who know, then I think $51.54 is, I guess, the average price. So if you are a guy and you are trying to determine a budget for what you're going to spend on your girl, then about $150 will cover you if you're not buying diamond earrings. But if you add any kind of diamond, then it's going to be a bit more of a cost factor. Now, buying gifts for men, it's a totally different animal, ladies. I wondered about the disparity, so I did some research to try to find out why is it that women spend so little on their guy. And I found some interesting information, I think. It's because of the list of what men want in terms of a gift. So for the longest, I've been told by men that they don't really want anything other than maybe some kind of sexual attention. But I found this list, and I find it pretty interesting. It says that the gifts that men love for Valentine's, they like any gift that says, "I love you," as a couple. Now, I find that I did not know that about men, but they like to see a gift that represents the two of you and your love. So they like books and trinkets and art and that kind of thing. Something that expresses, "I love you," as a couple, not just them saying, "I love you" to you, or you saying, "I love you" to them, but as a couple. And I think that's very sweet. They also, now this I could not believe, but further research, my goodness. The next thing that they like to receive is hot sauce. Apparently men love hot sauce. And they love hot sauce that where you can get the you get a new bottle every month, like a club. You know how you join a club and then they send you a different flavor each month. That's what they like. They love hot sauce. And I tell you this, ladies, in looking at the numbers, hot sauce is a booming industry. So if your man likes hot sauce, maybe you should come up with a flavor that the two of you can create together, because hot sauce is a $1 billion a year industry. That's what I said, $1 billion. So it's amazing. I am not crazy about hot food, and I like hot sauce, I think, only on fish. I'm not really a hot sauce person, but I know many people, before they even start to taste their food, they're putting like Tabasco or something hot on it. But since 2000, the hot sauce industry has grown by like 150%. So it's really an industry that perhaps if you're going to be a couple and you're thinking of getting married and you're thinking of starting your own business, take a look at the hot sauce industry. I'm even thinking about creating a flavor myself. If I actually do it, I'll let you know. But I'm thinking of creating a flavor, even though I'm not a real connoisseur. I listen to people talk and I hear what it is that they say that they like. So I'm thinking of creating something. So we'll see how it goes. The next thing that men like as a gift is beer. And it's the same with hot sauce. If you can get them a monthly delivery from one of those beer of the month clubs, they really appreciate that. So beer. Now, it didn't say whether it's imported beer that they like a lot or if it's domestic beer. It didn't say what kind of beer. It just said beer. So maybe it doesn't matter. I'm not sure. The next gift that they seem to like a lot is coffee. Well, I think that it's not just men that like coffee. I think people like coffee. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not a coffee drinker. It's not something for me, but I know that people do love coffee. And I like the breakfast sandwiches that they serve at Starbucks, but I'm always fascinated by when I go there and when I listen to people order coffee. I just love listening to them name all the things that they want on their coffee and in their coffee. And I find it fascinating because I didn't know that coffee could be served in so many different ways. But apparently it can. And men love coffee and women love coffee too. So I'm not sure that coffee is a bad gift to give a person who really enjoys drinking coffee. And if not coffee, maybe the gift card that you can buy at many of these coffee places. So, maybe that's something to consider is the coffee for anybody, but men in particular. They also like personalized whiskey. Now, that's probably more like a status symbol or something. I don't know, but just the idea that it's personalized makes me think that it must be about a status symbol. And like I said, I was just happy to find this because most of the time, men say, "Oh, well, I don't really want anything." So it was good to find a list that says some of the things that they actually do like and that they do like for Valentine's. Now, if you would like to call tonight's show and share some information about Valentine's that I perhaps don't know, you can feel free to do so. And the number to call is area code 323-293-3375. Again, that's area code 323-293-3375. Now, we're going to go to break shortly. And when I come back, I'm going to finish up this list because there are a lot of other things that men like that you might be surprised to find out. So stay with me, and we're going to finish up our list.
Big money. Math Maze USA is looking for people to train as outside sales consultants. You'll be calling on public and private schools, boys and girls clubs, and the U.S. military. If you're between the age of 18 and 35, a high school graduate with an outgoing personality and great communication skills, we want to hear from you. We offer complete training and great compensation. Call Mr. Glimpf today at 310-753-8830. That's 310-753-8830. Call today. All
right. Well, in dating, that's important to talk and to get to know somebody's name, because if you don't know their name, then you can't talk to them. But before we went to break, I was talking about the gifts that men say that they like to receive for Valentine's, and I got this list from Gift Advisor. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, check them out. The Gift Advisor can tell you how to get a gift for no matter what the occasion or the situation. But when we left, we were talking about gifts that men love. Now, the other thing that men say, that besides the personalized whiskey, they like daily doses of your love, meaning notes and, of course, the sexual aspect of the relationship. So anything that expresses love to them, they like that. So it's your relationship. You get to use your imagination on that one. They also like shaving gifts. That's pretty straightforward, shaving items. They like romantic keepsakes. Now, I was surprised to hear that, because I didn't think men paid much attention. But I guess, those little pictures that you can have around the house with words of, I love holding your hand, or I love kissing you, or whatever. They like that kind of stuff. So you can always give them a keepsake. They love cufflinks. And to me, I love a man that wears cufflinks. I don't know what it is. There's just something about cufflinks that I find very sexy. So I love cufflinks. And this one surprised me. Personalized white boxer shorts. Now, I don't understand why the boxer shorts have to be white, but apparently that's what they love, is personalized white boxer shorts. So keep that in mind when buying your guy a gift. Now, this one tickled me. I think this is pretty funny, but apparently it's very high on the list. I had never heard of this, but when I found out the origin of it, it made a lot of sense. It's called Sex Panther Cologne. Now, apparently Sex Panther is from the movie Anchorman. And so men like receiving Sex Panther Cologne because the packaging for the cologne, it growls when you open it. So they like the growling sound. So remember that, ladies, Sex Panther Cologne. That's one of the things that men like for Valentine's. But in terms of Valentine's Day, it can be so difficult for people, because just getting to the first date to establish a relationship that's long enough to receive a Valentine's Day gift can be a real challenge. And I gave this some thought, and even though I'm no expert, I am a reasonable person. And my thoughts about dates and dating and getting things established is that you should, well, first of all, the first date, I guess, is what I want to talk about. Most people have a really hard time with this because they're nervous and they don't know what to expect. But I think the first date should be really pretty general, and basic, dinner, talk about general things, like, hobbies and interests, because you're just establishing if you want to be in each other's company. So to me, it's important to not get too deep in terms of conversation about each other. Just go and have a good time, hopefully. Kind of plan what it is that you want to do. Do you want to have dinner? Do you want to do some kind of event? Maybe you like playing cards. I have a friend that she actually belongs to a club. So, if the both of you enjoy playing cards, then maybe that's just something that you can do after you go and have some dinner or something. But just relax. That's probably the best advice that I could give. Just relax when you're on a first date. You don't know where it's going to go. Hopefully it's going to turn out really well for you and you guys will be in love for the rest of your life, but it may not. And if it doesn't, it's okay, because that just may not have been the right person for you. And so you don't want to miss out on whomever that right person is by spending too much time on a date that didn't go well. And sometimes first dates don't go well. And then you see the person at a different time and they're in a different headspace and so are you, and things click. So don't put too much emphasis on the first date. Relax and have a general conversation and just enjoy the company. And the other thing, though, to me that I think is really important is dressing for the first date. Don't overdo the dressing. Be comfortable. And I think that goes for men and women. Just make sure you're comfortable on the date. You don't want to have on some Oscar dress or a tuxedo and trying to get to know something about someone. So be comfortable on your first date and see where that all takes you. But there are people out there who study dating habits, and they study men and women and relationships. And since it's Valentine's Day, I want to help you out with that. But before we get into that, I want to give you the telephone number, because I'd love for you to call if you have some thoughts about Valentine's or something that you'd like to share. You can feel free to call the show at area code 323-293-3375. Again, that's area code 323-293-3375. One of the things that I like to do is read business magazines. And in these business magazines, it's amazing to me how much information they have about love and sex and relationships. And I think I found something that I absolutely love this information, and I hope that you love this as much as I did, because I thought it was just wonderful and fascinating what they had to say. And all of this is before you get to Valentine's Day. This is how this particular study is about how do we get people to fall in love with us. And I guess that is an age-old question, and as my father used to say, that's a $64,000 question and a mystery to many, and I guess not much of a mystery to others. But this is from Business Insider, and this piece was done by Linda Ramsey and Jessica Orwit. And these determinations, they're based on science. So it's about 15 things that they've studied here regarding the science of love and dating and relationships. And I think it's pretty interesting. So it says, according to science, for the first date, you should get coffee and not ice cream. Now, they didn't say if this is in the summer, but they say that for the first date, you should get coffee and not ice cream. It says Yale psychologist John Barr says that there's a connection between body temperature and personality. So that's why you should get coffee and not ice cream, because of the connection between body temperature and personality. When we feel warm physically, we tend to behave warmly toward others. So to get your first date to go smoothly, seek out warm places and warm foods. Warm places and warm foods on the first date. The psychologist concluded that if you do warm places and warm food, it might just heat things up. So you may end up getting a second date. But that's the recommendation, just based on the science of dating. Get warm food and have dinner at a warm place. The next thing is that while you're on this first date, the important thing is to be positive. It says that men aren't just interested in how you look. They are checking out your personality. And I can understand that, because who wants to be out on a date with a negative, miserable person? I can't imagine anyone. So if you're negative and you are miserable, get your act together, become positive, so that you can not only get you a date, but you might end up getting you a mate as well. Okay? All right. The third thing that they offer is to listen. And this makes a lot of sense to me. It says, according to psychotherapist M. Gary Newman, listening is key to falling in love. I'm going to say that again. Listening is the key to falling in love, because everybody, men and women, they have a desire to be heard. So that's why listening is very important. And I like that. One of the other recommendations is to make eye contact. And I guess this is kind of difficult, especially if you're essentially strangers on the first date, but you do eventually want to fall in love. I guess it is important to make eye contact, not necessarily gazing into somebody's eyes, but looking. That's important. They use the word staring. Actually, I guess I would prefer to be gazed at instead of stared at when I think about it. But they said that staring into each other's eyes, it increases the feeling of intimacy. So if you want things to get off to a good start, then making eye contact and staring into each other's eyes will increase intimate feelings. The next thing is to say thank you. Apparently, graciousness and gratefulness goes a long way. It says people who can feel grateful for a kind act done by their partner, it makes the partner feel much closer. And I can understand that. When people say thank you and please and niceties, it does make you feel wonderful, like they really appreciate your effort. So remember that gratefulness, it's a good look on you. So wear it as often as possible. The next idea that they offer up is smiling. A smile apparently is so important, not only on the first date, but the second date, subsequent dates, love, and marriage. There is no limit to smiling. It's very important to smile, because they say smiling makes you memorable. And I believe that. I think there's, if people don't even remember your name, they say, oh yeah, I remember that person. She had a big smile on her face, or he had this big grin on his face. Yeah, I remember that. So it said that smiling makes you memorable, and it also makes you seem more attractive to the person. It says you look better based on how intense your smile is. Now, make sure, though, it's genuine. Don't just go on the date and put this big grin on your face and it's just kind of manufactured. You don't want to do that. You want to have a genuine smile, okay? It says also be okay with embarrassing yourself. And by that they mean that, kind of being a little bit silly. And I'm going to take that word back. Not necessarily silly, but being a little playful to where you can kind of relax a little bit and break the ice. It says, according to Harvard Business School, 79% of people who were surveyed could be won over by dates that revealed embarrassing things. Now, I never thought about that, but I guess if they say it, I guess that's true. Who am I to argue with Harvard? It says that people who hide things, they feel that they can't be trusted. So I guess they don't mean deep, dark secrets, but if you can kind of let your guard down a little bit and perhaps not be so serious, then that's what they're talking about. Just reveal little silly things about yourself. That's what they mean in terms of it's okay to embarrass yourself. Also, they say it's a good thing to create your own secret language. And this is from the University of Texas. Now, I know this survey is true because that's my alma mater. I'm a graduate of the University of Texas, so therefore I know that you can believe this, okay? It says, the goofy inside joke or expressions that the two of you enjoy about each other tends to deepen your romantic bond because it builds a shared identity, which is important to create a feeling of belonging. So that makes sense to me. And like I said, because it's from the University of Texas, then hey, I got to go with it. It says use touch to your advantage. Now, you have to be careful with this one. When they say use touch to your advantage, they're talking about brief touches, not being manhandled or bear hugged or any of that, especially because at this point, the person basically is still a stranger. So it's brief touching, like touching one's hand to make a point if you're talking, or maybe putting your hand, if you're standing somewhere, putting your hand on the other person's shoulder, or even holding hands. So brief things, not some long and involved touching that's probably considered illegal. And you don't want to get in trouble. But brief touches, it's considered as a way to heighten the attraction. And they say, don't go too far, don't do too much, because unwanted touching is very undesirable. So use some discretion when touching. It's just just a slight touch, not anything overpowering. So just keep that in mind. Now, this one I found very interesting, and like I said, these are these are scientific observations that they believe will help you to fall in love. So just keep that in mind. This one is kiss passionately. Well, I guess if you're going to spend your time kissing, it should be passionate, huh? It says that people remember passion. Well, I can believe that. I mean, passion is good. And they tell me that red is the color of passion. And I didn't know this until, let me see, 1990 something, I guess, is when I found out that red is the color of passion, because I had custom made a red silk sofa. And the man that made the sofa for me, he had a great accent too. And he said, "Oh my, I can't imagine what will be happening on this sofa." And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he said, red silk, because that's what I wanted, a red silk sofa. So I had it custom made. And he just went on and on about how passionate how passionate it was to have this red silk sofa, because red was the color of passion. But for this scientific survey, it says that kissing passionately is something to do because it makes memories. And women love to be kissed, and women love kissing. So that's another thing to keep in mind, that kiss passionately and kissing, period, is a good thing. If you are great at kissing, people will never forget you. And that's all I have to say about that. But keep that in mind, being a great kisser. Another scientific aspect to this is that if you've been dating someone for a while and you believe that the relationship is going somewhere and that it could end up with you guys falling passionately in love, the recommendation is to find out if that's really true. You should consult your female friends, not your male friends, to find out about how things are going. You should consult your female friends. And the reason that they suggest that you consult your female friends, especially if you're trying to get the relationship to stand the test of time, because they're willing to give you a healthy, unbiased perspective. It's very important, though, to have good female friends, because if you're going to get a healthy, unbiased perspective, you don't want to get it from somebody that is perhaps envious or not supportive of your relationship because they're not in one. So consult your healthy female friends, because sometimes they can be jealous of your relationship. But they say that females are able to give an unbiased perspective about if this person is good for you. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you have something that you'd like to add to tonight's show, it is Love Week, because Valentine's Day is tomorrow. You can feel free to call the show. If you have a great Valentine's story that you would like to share, you can call the show at area code 323-293-3375. Again, that's area code 323-293-3375. Now, we're going to go to break, and when I come back, we're going to finish up this list of how to fall in love and perhaps end up being married. Stay with me.
Are you looking for an opportunity to earn big money? Math Maze USA is looking for people to train as outside sales consultants. You'll be calling on public and private schools, boys and girls clubs, and the U.S. military. If you're between the age of 18 and 35, a high school graduate with an outgoing personality and great communication skills, we want to hear from you. We offer complete training and great compensation. Call Mr. Glimpf today at 310-753-8830. That's 310-753-8830. Call today.
Hopes that you are still mine, and if that Valentine doesn't reach you,
Caught me.
it's okay.
But when we went to break, I was talking about ways to not only fall in love, but end up marrying and being with the person that you love. The next thing on the list is that you should say I love you before having sex. Now I'm going to repeat that. Say I love you before having sex. It says if you want your relationship to last, according to Illinois State University communications professor Sandra Metz, saying I love you before becoming sexually involved has a positive impact on the trajectory or the manner or the way in which the relationship is going to go. Because saying I love you creates an emotional connection. And having sex simply creates a sexual connection. So if you're trying to establish a relationship, then saying I love you and determining what the feelings are before having sex is what science recommends. So if you disagree with that, do not call me. Miss Carolyn did not make this up. Somebody else wrote these things. I'm just simply sharing them with you because I just think it's good information. But it does make sense to establish what the feelings are, because love is one thing and sex is another. And if you're wanting love and sex, the love needs to come first. That's my never to be humble opinion. Okay? All right. The next thing, now this I hear a lot about, and especially from men. I hear this a lot. It says, beware of artificial covers like clothes and makeup. Because they believe that clothes and makeup can hide a multitude of sin, and you're not necessarily seeing who it is that you're really dating. So that's why they recommend be aware of this. Also, it is believed that narcissistic people are great at making themselves outwardly attractive, especially at the first meeting. And it's good to not be swayed by the confidence and the humor that they bring to the first date or second date. Don't be swayed by that, because it does not necessarily represent who it is that you're going to actually be dealing with, especially clothes, because, what they say, clothes make the man. Well, if that is true, then that's perhaps a man that may not be a good husband. He may be a good boyfriend. But if you're trying to get to love, they recommend that don't, and this, like I said, this is for women as well, don't go so much on on what you see in terms of how they're dressed. Because, sometimes people say, oh my God, he had on a uniform and he had on a suit, or she had on a dress instead of pants, and she was fine and she looked good. So, but you have to notice that, but don't make long-term decisions just by what you see. It also says that it helps a lot if you are a lot alike. Now, this one makes sense to me. It says couples who act like friends, they tend to be more satisfied in a relationship. According to research, it's because they share emotional experiences at a similar level. And that makes sense because it's just easier to be in the company of somebody that you like a lot. And you don't have to go out of your way and do things that perhaps you don't, you wouldn't enjoy doing. So if you and the person you're dating, if you like some of the same things, it just makes it a lot more comfortable. So keep that in mind. It says, show your love. Everybody likes to feel special, and if you show your love and make your spouse feel like a winner, then I tell you that that can't be beat. Dr. Newman says that 48% of relationships fail because the people don't feel appreciated. Wow, that's a big number, 48%. And how is it that you're going to be in love and not show appreciation? But 52% of relationships, they last just because of that. They last because of the appreciation, which I guess is kind of a no-brainer. How can you be in love and not appreciate the person that you say you're in love with? So if you're saying to somebody, I love you, and you don't appreciate them, you need to think about that, because it's important that there is a connection with love and with appreciation. Okay? So just keep that in mind. With Valentine's Day being tomorrow, I hope that the information that I've shared tonight has made things a little easier for you. I also hope that you didn't wait until the very last minute to to go out and get a gift. Many times I see people here in Los Angeles in particular, they have a lot of street vendors that sell all kinds of things for not only Valentine's Day, but just for holidays, period. And I often see people rushing, skidding almost to these places to buy a last-minute gift. Well, buying a gift is important, especially for Valentine's. It's especially for women. They love to receive gifts, and they love to receive them at the office. But I don't think that they want you to go at the very last moment on one of these major boulevards on the corner and pick them something up. They want you to give a little bit more thought, and vice versa. No man wants to receive a Valentine's card that was an afterthought when you were at the grocery store at the last minute and you happened to be standing in line and you picked up something that somebody left behind. So my suggestion is that if you want to keep the love that you have to treat it with care and treat it with respect, and hopefully you will get care and respect in return. So with tomorrow being Valentine's Day, hopefully you have not waited until the last minute. But if you have, don't just go and pick up a bunch of flowers. Give some thought to the kind of flowers that she might like, because it is believed that women prefer flowers over candy because they last longer. So hopefully I've shared some information tonight that will make love last a long time for you and whomever it is that you fall in love with. Because tomorrow being Valentine's Day, we don't want you to be miserable, because this show is about moving you from misery to magnificence and from subpar to spectacular. And I want everybody out there to have a spectacular Valentine's Day. But you got to think about it, and you got to give some thought and some consideration. So happy Valentine's Day to you and to yours. And I'll see you next year on Valentine's Day. Good night.
Are you looking for an opportunity to earn big money? MathMaze USA is looking for people to train as outside sales consultants. You'll be calling on public and private schools, boys and girls clubs, and the U.S. military. If you're between the age of 18 and 35, a high school graduate with an outgoing personality and great communication skills, we want to hear from you. We offer complete training and great compensation. Call Mr. Glimpf today at 310-753-8830. That's 310-753-8830. Call today.